All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. We are on page 272 for those who are following along. And I just want to remind you guys, our dear friend Ephraim Ausch has very humbly donated a handful of pocket size or travel size chavos havavos. And so if anybody wants one, we do have some available. You're more than happy. I can bring one to you, or you can pick one up at the office over here. So we are on Perek Zayin. And so what we started talking about Perek Zayin is that Perek Zayin is focusing on the idea that in life we get this toolbox, this bitachon toolbox, and we went through the majority, or almost the entire sefer of Shaar Habitachon. And we learned all these tools, all these things to be aware of. And so what Perek Zayin is trying to focus on is that just like everything else in life, when we go out in the real world, once we learn something, we are going to be faced with different pitfalls, with different obstacles. And the same things that make us great are also going to work against us sometimes. And so we started learning about the different things that are going to work against us and what we have to work on and be mindful of all the time. And so we talked about the first three things. We talked about that a person, firstly, needs to always remember that Hashem is the one who manages all the affairs of the entire world. He makes everything happen. Whether it's good or bad, he makes everything happen. We have to keep that in mind. It's not it's not a bunch of different things or different people or items on this world, but it's Hashem that makes that happen. That was one thing. And then he talks about the second thing is he shouldn't be ignorant of Hashem. He should learn Hashem's ways. And that was something that we spoke about in previous shiurim, that in order to have bitachon, we also have to learn Hashem's will. And yesterday, we learned about the principle that we've learned about actually a few times, but we honed it on the principle of cause and effect, and how we have to think more broadly, that we can't always think that what's right in front of us will be so narrow-minded that that's the cause of what we're facing, good or bad. And so now, Chavos Havavos is switching to what he calls the levels of bitachon. And he's going to talk about 10 levels of bitachon that a person has, or not a person has, rather, how a person progresses through life, and everybody's going to be on a different level. The first 5 levels we're going to learn today, and those first 5 levels are actually the first 5 levels of bitachon that not necessarily correlate with Hashem, but kind of where a person, you'll see how a person kind of views the world and its abilities, or their own abilities, and those are going to go through the first 5 levels, and that's what we're going to learn today. And so, we're going to start off over here. Uklal shel davar be'inyan habitachon. A general rule regarding bitachon is ki yisroin habitachon mehaboitchem belekim. That among those who trust in Hashem, we all have bitachon, we try to have bitachon. Some will have a greater degree of bitachon, and some are not going to have such a big degree of bitachon. Kifi yisroin yidiyasam oisai, in accordance with their greater awareness of the presence of Hashem. So he talks about that. The more connected you are, the more you are aware of Hashem, the more we talked about earlier, those first 3 things, that you understand that Hashem is the creator of everything, and that Hashem is the person that makes the one that makes everything happen. The more you're in tune with that, the better, the higher level of bitachon you're going to have automatically. And their greater conviction in his protection over them and his extensive providence with which he pays attention to their best interests. The bigger your trust, and the bigger understanding you have of Hashem's ability, the bigger understanding you have in doing Hashem's will, the more bitachon you're going to have in every single day, because you understand we have a process. And when you trust in the process, you have a greater, that trust level goes better, higher and higher and higher and higher. We know when we have processes, whether it's work or personal life, we know when we trust in that process, things work out well. Why? Because follow the process and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to, most times. Well, at least that's what we hope for. But again, that process is implemented so that we have something to guide us through. That's what our Torah is for. Our Torah is that process, is our guidebook in order to go through that. And when we have that process and we're going according to halachos, according to the process, we automatically trust in Hashem because we understand that's what He wants. Now, he says the first level is like this. V'hinei hayeled b'chilas inyanai. The first level of the 10 of bitachon it talks about is a child at his earliest stages. A child is born, is an infant. He relies on his mother to nurse. So the child is nursing for his mother. That's how the child gets his sustenance. Maftichi al imi, as it says in the pasuk in Tehillim, made me secure on my mother's breast. That he is close to his mother feeds him, and that's all the baby knows, this little infant. The child does not yet realize that he has a mother that feeds him. He just understands that he's nursing, and that's all. He's only aware of the specific source of the milk. That's it. That's the first level. Let's go to the second level. When his perception improves, he expands his reliance to the entirety of his mother. Why? Because he realizes now, he sees, there's someone that's actually feeding him over there. Since he sees how dedicated his mother is to him, right? It talks about, at this stage, he realizes that his mother gives him sustenance, and that she also cares for him in other ways, such as she bathes him, she clothes him, and stuff like that. It says in the pasuk, Im loy shevisi v'doimamti nafshi kigamol alei imoy kigamol alei nafshi. It says in the pasuk, I swear that I stilled and silenced my soul like a nursing infant at his mother's side, like the nursing infant in my soul. What he means by that is that a nursing infant, the analogy of the nursing infant at his mother's side refers to an infant whose mother removed him from her breast and after feeding him, and then he realizes that he's right there. Although he depleted the milk from his mother, he has no concern for the future since he knows that his mother's always going to take care of his needs. That's what it talks about over there. That's the second level. Now the third level, this child is growing up. The third level is, and when the child grows somewhat older, so that his perception improves a little bit more, he actually realizes and he sees that his mother's ability to care for him, for all his siblings, is actually coming from the father, because the father is the one that's supporting the mother to stay at home. He transfers his trust to his father now. Why? Because he sees, my mother takes care of me, but ultimately my father is the one who brings home the money that makes sure that my mom can stay at home and keep me fed, keep me clean, keep me out of trouble. So since he observes that his mother herself relies on his father, he concludes, who is the ultimate over here? My father. That's the third level. The kid gets a little older now. Now we're at the fourth level. The kasha yesa gufay. When he grows older yet and his body gains strength of his own, so that it becomes feasible for him to have his own strategy for acquiring his sustenance. He can go to work, do his own things. He goes to work as skilled labor, or he becomes a merchant, or he does something that he can make his own money. He transfers his trust from his own strength and strategy. What till now he thought it was his father, right? He got a little older, and right before he thought it was his father, now he realized, no, it's me. I can do this. And so he goes out and earns his money, and he realizes that all his abilities actually come from him himself. Because he's still ignorant, he still doesn't realize of the fact that Hashem has been managing his life all this time. He doesn't realize that Hashem gave him life. Hashem made sure that his mother had milk. Hashem made sure that his mother was able to have the ability to take care of him. He had a healthy, normal home. Hashem made sure that his father had parnasa to be able to support the mother. And all these things are this line that he still hasn't realized yet that's Hashem. He's still growing, and he's still thinking that, next step, what can I see? I can only see what's in front of me. And we're now at the fourth level, and he realizes that my capabilities are coming from my own sustenance because I'm able to go to work. Now, still dealing with this fourth level, Chavos Avavos relates a story that illustrates this fourth level. It says, one of the says, he had a neighbor. This one of this Hasidim, he had a neighbor. His neighbor was a sofer. And he was a very, very good sofer at that. And he scribed Sefer Torahs, mezuzahs, all those different things. And his neighbor would support himself with the earnings from the writing, the Sefer Torahs, and all these other items. This chassid one day said to his neighbor, he said, how are the matters with you? How's work and everything? Amalai, the neighbor answered him, "B'toiv ba'oid yadi shlema." He said, he responded, "Everything is fine as long as my hands are intact." So he said, as long as my hands are intact, I'm good. I don't have to worry. What happened was that very evening his hands got severed. It says that he got paralyzed. He was not able to write anymore, not able to be a cipher anymore. He says that this was the punishment that Hashem gave him. Now, it's an extreme punishment. Why did Hashem punish him for his lack of bitachon? Hashem didn't punish him for his lack of bitachon in Hashem. Hashem punished him because he put his entire trust in his own hands. He put his trust not in Hashem giving him the ability to be a good cipher and all that. He said, it's not from my hands, I have nothing. Because that's what he says. The words that he used was, as long as my hands are intact, I'm good. And so Hashem showed him, no. That's not how it is. And so we have to understand, and that's what he's saying with this fourth one, is that it's not just your capabilities. Now we go on to the fifth level that we're going to finish off today. And if when working for a living, now this child went out and started working, making money, it turns out that his income comes through other human beings, he realizes actually his money that he makes is not just because of him. He realizes because I have customers, I have employers. It's not only my ability, it's that I need someone else to rely on in order to give me that money. So I can go out from today to tomorrow, and yes, maybe if I'm foraging for food and do it on my own, I don't have to rely on another person. But as long as I have to go find a job or find clients for my business, I'm still relying on the employer or the clients in order to give me those sustenance. And so what happens is, in this level, v'tenuach nafshay alehem, he winds up in this fifth level of bitachon. He's still not focused and realizing Hashem. He still focuses and only realizes what's in front of him, which is the employer or the customers or even his employees. Because again, he relies on his employees to bring him the business, to help him with the company in order to grow. And that is the fifth level of bitachon. And that's the first of the 10. Tomorrow we're going to get into now where he starts realizing Hashem. And so today, to kind of close that off, those first 5 levels are focused purely on the person himself and what they can see in front of him. And again, going back to that concept of cause and effect, we only see what's in front of us. And tomorrow we're going to start learning that there's a bigger picture over here. There's a higher command than just what's in front of you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We were such a huge, huge group today. I love it. We were about 12 people today on the share. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and I love you all.